Hello, welcome to my concept video on urine production. So, urinary system. What are the components of it? So you have the kidneys, and these will filter blood. Ureters, these connect the kidneys to the bladder and will transport urine from the kidneys to the bladder. The bladder is like a urine reservoir, and this is an expandable sac that can store about 1 liter of urine. The urethra is connected to the bladder, and this eliminates the urine in that urine reservoir out of the body. Alright, next. Oh my gosh. Alright, now what is the anatomy of the kidney? The kidney contains a renal lobe. This renal lobe has renal pyramid and parts of renal columns that are parallel to the sides of this renal pyramid. And it is also part of the renal cortex, which is external to the renal pyramid. And then it also has a renal sinus, and this space serves as the area that typically drains urine. Now, there's also these, oh, I spelled that wrong. It's supposed to be minor calyxes, I think. These are in association with renal pyramids. And you have your major calyxes, which is where the minor calyxes merge to form this. And you have your renal pelvis, which is the major calyxes merging to form that. Afferent and efferent vessels, or arterioles. So, efferent arterioles typically carry the blood to the glomerulus, so then it can be filtered within the kidney. Efferent arterioles will carry the blood away from the glomerulus after the blood has been filtered. I said that. I said it's so weird. Whatever. I'm continuing. Components of... Oh, yeah. There is my drawing of afferent and efferent arterioles with the glomerulus. I'm going to zoom out. Alright, components of nephrons. Nephrons include a renal corpuscle and a renal tubule. These two structures within a renal corpuscle, there are two structures within the renal corpuscle. These are the glomerulus and the glomerulus capsule. Now, the renal tubule includes structures called the proximal convoluted tubule and nephron loops that are descending and ascending, and the distal convoluted tubule. Man, I really don't know what I said there. Alright, continuing on. Now, this is the pathway that filtrate will take to become urine. So, blood will enter the kidneys by the afferent arterioles, and it becomes filtered by the glomerulus. Then water and solutes from that filtered blood will move into that capsular space and form filtrate. Now, this filtrate will enter a proximal convoluted tubule and is now known as tubular fluid. It then goes through a nephron loop, a distal convoluted tubule, and then it's collected by collecting tubules, which then drain into collecting ducts, and it is then known as urine. Then, urine will go into the papillary ducts, then the minor calyx, then to the major calyx, and next the renal pelvis. And after that comes the ureters, and then it's stored into the urinated bladder, and finally the urethra will excrete the urine from the body, eliminating the waste. Now, the last few things I'm going to talk about are reabsorption and secretion. So in tubular reabsorption, the tubular fluid components are typically moved by diffusion, osmosis, and active transport. These components usually move from the lumen of the tubules And from the walls of collecting ducts across the walls, components of tubular fluid can be returned to the blood within peritubular capillaries and vasa recta capillaries. The solutes that are most needed and along with water will be reabsorbed, and anything that's in excess will remain in the tubular fluid. In tubular secretion, solutes will be moved by active transport. Solutes will leave the blood within peritubular capillaries and vasa recta capillaries and enter the tubular fluid. Those are then excreted due to selectively being moved to the tubules. Hope y'all enjoyed that. That was the end. Goodbye.